You can study in the morning, you can study at night. You can study outside by a campfire light. You can study with the rabbi.
I'll never forget when I was at Brandeis University. Another student on campus brought Rabbi Meir Kahana to speak. Not formally for the university, but privately as a guest of this student. I was the president of Hillel at the time. When Rabbi Kahana came, a few hundred of us gathered in the student union to hear what he had to say. And at a certain point in his speech, he began to talk about himself as if he were Abraham, comparing himself to Abraham, to Abraham. And I remember I yelled out, "You're nothing like Abraham. Abraham never killed anybody." Big mistake. As it turns out, Abraham killed quite a few people, including a number of kings that we read about in the book of Genesis. My fundamental struggle with Rabbi Kahana, who, by the way, was assassinated, killed just a week later at another college campus. My fundamental problem with him is that he would speak generally. He had a fixed idea about Palestinians, about Muslims. And he believed that the way that he saw them was the way that all of them were. Generally speaking, the Palestinians were bad, Muslims were bad, and we have to take care of that problem. This past week, I was at an AIPAC rabbinic symposium in Washington, D.C., and I heard a little bit more of this. I heard that Islam is not a religion of peace, that it's in fact a religion of war, and that those who believe that it's a religion of peace, those are the minority. I'm not interested in getting into whether it is or whether it isn't. What I'm interested in saying to you today is that generally speaking never works. Generally speaking, you cannot say anything of any meaning, any value. There is no general. If you just open this week's Parsha, you'll find that if you were to take one verse out of context, it would not look so good. If a beautiful woman is taken captive in war, you may take her as your wife. Would any of us say that a woman who's captured in war by an Israeli soldier, by a Jewish soldier, is then allowed to be kept as his wife? No. Out of context, that verse makes no sense. And it also says nothing about what Jews are. And I would suggest to you that we have made the same mistake about Muslims and about many other groups. You cannot say, generally speaking, anything of any value or meaning about a group of people. What you can do is get to know individuals within that group. Learn about what that person believes. Build a relationship with that person. Learn about where that person is coming from and where they want to go in the future. This is not a political statement that I'm making. I'm not suggesting that we need to have peace with the Palestinians. I'm not suggesting that we don't. What I'm suggesting is that generally speaking doesn't help us move toward peace at all. When we start generalizing, saying that Islam is bad, Palestinians are bad, Jews are bad, anyone is bad or good or otherwise, doesn't really say anything. Let's get down to basics. Let's start building relationships. Let's get to know one another. Then we can actually have a conversation with some value, with some meaning, something that will really push us forward and help us find a better day. A day when we truly know one another and we're not just generally speaking.
It's okay as you will see that we're bound to disagree. Don't have to see eye to eye to make the Torah come alive. Now that I've had my say, let's not waste the whole day.